Hi guys, and welcome back to another Motivation Monday video. So today I want to talk about how to stay motivated when no one is cheering you on. And I've actually seen quite a few videos related to this topic on TikTok and on Instagram about the people that tend to be the closest to you are the ones that don't show up for you when you may start a channel or a podcast or putting yourself out there really. And it's always the people that don't know you that show you the most support. This is something I really struggled with when I first started my channel. I think when I first started my channel, I felt like I always had people that I've known forever looking at my stories or liking my videos. But then when it came to supporting me in this new chapter of my life, doing content, I didn't have the support I thought I was going to have. And I think I was really resentful and I felt like giving up a lot of the time. A lot of the times we just not assume, but we would expect those that we show up for to show up for us in the same way, and it doesn't always work that way. Doing content for the last 2 years and seeing those, even sometimes on my Instagram stories, I'll post a link to my YouTube video, and it's really interesting to me how many people click on the links. But it's also interesting to me how many people want to see day to day what I'm doing, but people that don't necessarily support me or show up for me. I don't know. It's a really weird, I don't want to talk on it too much because some people may watch this video and be like, oh, you're talking about me. And I'm not talking about anyone directly. I'm just saying these are just things that I myself have found since starting my channel. I was taking notes to do this video and I thought back to being a kid. And I remember deep down, I've always had to show up for myself. I've always been my biggest cheerleader because I remember when I was like 15 or 16 and I wanted to get my driver's license. And I remember my dad trying to talk me out of getting my driver's license. And even when I went to college, I remember my dad, or even in high school, he'd be like, oh, well, you can't do that. That's too hard. I've never had that support from my father. It took me doing my research to do this video. And I was like, you know what? I've always been my own cheerleader, been my biggest cheerleader. Even when I first said I was going to start doing YouTube, and a lot of people that know me personally were like, it makes complete sense. But then there were people that were like, it seems kind of cringy. And I was like, but why? Why does it seem cringy? My daughter, Natalia, who's a teenager, and yes, it was probably difficult for her because she was like, oh, it's so weird because people at my school are finding you. And I had to say to her, I was like, okay, so people that have 1 million subscribers have to start from somewhere. So I think it was just teaching my kids early on what my goal was. Never shit on anyone that you don't understand what their purpose is. And I also had to sit back and realize not everyone understands my goal. I have a goal that I definitely want to see come out of my channel. At the end of the day, I know that if it does or doesn't work out, I know I put myself out there and I tried. I know when I start a new business venture I'm looking at starting, I know I put myself out there and I tried. It could work out. It may not work out, but I'm pretty confident that if I work hard and if I put my mind to anything, I know you can achieve it. And that comes from just my mindset thinking over the last 5 to 10 years. So I want to talk about self-validation. So I talked about this in another video, but I remember when I hit my first 100 subscribers and I was so happy. My husband is really supportive of me doing content. He knows what my vision is. He knows what my goals are. And he's always just been really supportive. And even sometimes when I feel like I'm just going to give up because I'm seeing low growth on my channel or it's not growing as fast as I can. And he's like, well, just take a break. Don't give up. And I'm like, okay, so that I take a break and then I'm back to filming. And I'm like, because even when I think about how frustrating creating content can be sometimes when you're filming and editing and trying to figure out something else I can do that's in my niche, but it's not so repetitive on my channel. And that's something I've been kind of struggling with. That's why I started this series. Maybe some positive information that can help at least one person out there. I want to change the direction of my channel, but not too sideways. I want to keep the same type of niche, same type of topics. And this is all related, in my opinion, to self-care and women's health, what my channel's focus is. I think another thing that helps me really stay focused with my channel, my goals, are my group of ladies I meet with weekly, and we talk about our weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly goals. And I talked about this in another video, but I definitely suggest surrounding yourself with like-minded people because you don't need to explain to those ladies what my goals, what my vision is. They get it. Also noticed after starting my channel was the outpour of positive feedback I was getting from so many women, like from all over. And I love that because I'm able to have a positive online network with people I don't know directly, but we're still cheering each other on, which is beautiful. The other thing I do constantly is I remind myself of my why. Why did I start this channel? I'm at a point now in my life where I really don't care, and I feel like I have been given this gift to put myself out there because I know I'm helping someone or people and making a difference, even with teaching women how to take care of their hair. I continue to think about how much passion and the word I'm looking for, like maybe consistency, I guess, I'm getting from pouring back into my channel and pouring back into those of you that do watch my content on a regular basis. I was listening to a Mel Robbins podcast on a walk last week, and she had a guest speaker on there, and the podcast was called, I talked about this previously, but I actually want to touch on it again because there's so many things that they talked about in this podcast that just made a light go off in my mind. So the podcast I listened to by Mel Robbins was How to Design Your Life. And it came with a workbook, a free workbook at that. And in the podcast, one of the first few lines the co-host said was, need to remember it's not what's probable, it's what's possible. I sent that quote to my cousin, and I just so that way I could remember it. My cousin phoned me and she's like, wow, I think I really had to hear that today. And I was like, oh, well, sorry, but that message was actually for me and I wanted to save it. But I was like, I'm happy I was able to touch you and you don't even know what the story is. So then I quickly started telling her the story, but I was like, I'm on this walk and I really want to finish the podcast while it's like I have this warm and gooey feeling inside to basically manifest, right? And I was like, I'm in such a good mood right now. I'm in such a good headspace. I was like, so I'm going to phone you back when I'm done listening to the podcast. So I did not want to leave the trail walking until I was done the podcast. I'm like, then it's a different type of environment, different type of energy driving in the car, like you're not really listening to it. So I'm like, I just want to be by the river, listen to this podcast. And they talked about some amazing things. And it was just, I'm in a big shift right now, I definitely am in a big shift in my life. And I'm trying to figure things out again. And I'm not starting over, but I'm being more clear with what I do and do not want. And the reason I'm being so clear is because I know how manifestation and God work. And I know for a fact that if I'm not very descriptive with the way I want my life to unfold moving forward. Not perfect, but like perfect for me. I don't know if I talked on this before or not. Please forgive me because this is a 7-week series I'm doing and I have a ton of notes trying to get all the information and thinking back and whatever. But I seen somebody talking on TikTok. This was probably about 6 months ago, and she was talking about how she had typed out her ideal day. She's like, and it was an very, very of how I want my day to go. And she's like, I burst into tears reading this because she's like, it was just so beautiful and it was everything I wanted and so much more. So I was like, I don't know. One weekend we were just sitting around and it was like a pretty chill weekend. And I was like, I'm going to go on ChatGPT and I'm going to type in my ideal day. So I wrote out everything, how I wanted my day to basically go. And it gave me a morning script that takes 1 minute to kind of say before I get out of bed. And then it gave me a more detailed script of the way I want my day to go. I think I did this maybe 3 months ago. Yeah, it was at the beginning of summer. And it's so crazy to me doing this video because to this day, it is exactly the way I had wrote this out. This is so crazy of like how powerful our minds can be. Sorry, I'm not going to cry, but it's so beautiful to know that like as slow as the growth may be on my channel and you don't have people showing up for you that you feel they should be there because it's friends that you've had forever or family, it really doesn't matter because at the end of the day, you can make anything happen in your life. Look at me being my own therapist. I just want to say, if you're in a season where you feel like you're alone on your journey, comment down below saying I'm still going so we can continue to cheer each other on. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please share, like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys next week in the next Motivation Monday video. Bye.
My name is Carrie, I'm so very fly, oh my, it's a little bit scary. Boys wanna marry, looking at my diary. And you can stare, but if you touch it, I'm a berry. Pretty as a picture, sweeter than a swisher. Mad cause I'm cuter than the girl that's richer. I don't gotta talk about it, baby, you can